Hey, ladies, welcome back to the podcast. We Age Graceful. I know it's been a minute since we had our last episode, but a lot has been going on. Otherwise, how have you been? What is going on? Today, before we get into this, having some casual conversation, we're going to be talking about resetting and just blooming. You know, we're in the spring right now. We want to get our mind, our body, our soul. We want to refresh as Black women. You know, we're in a time and a place right now where refreshing is a must. So, the reason why I want to kind of get into this topic because one, we're dead smack into spring, as we all know, and I was like, you know what? Why not do? I want to do a 5-day straight, like a spring reset, get everything together. But I was like, you know what, Kelly? Let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic. Let's do 5 weeks. So every week, I'm gonna drop a little episode for us to kind of dive deep into to get things kind of, straight for ourselves here for the spring. So, before we get into that, how are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? For those of you who are watching on that good old YouTube, we have a good old background. I'm finally sitting in my chair. I'm finally sitting in my chair. I normally sit at my desk slash vanity and I use this as my backdrop. But I was like, you know what? Why not indulge and just be in the actual space? Why not just kind of mellow out here? So here we are. We're here. We're in the space and I'm liking it. I feel like I'm super relaxed for one. Let me give you a visual for those of you who are listening on audio. I'm like in my chair. I have me some good tea sitting right here in my anthropology mug. I will leave a link somewhere for you guys to check it out. I have my initial K. I have my lip gloss. I don't have any of my candles lit around me. I have to fix that. We might fix that on an intermission or something. But I have my lip gloss. I have all my faux plants that give me good energy. Even though they're not live, I know what they can do. They're here for me and I'm appreciative. And this room just gives me so much life. I'm looking out the window. I just have all the things around me that I like. I like. So I'm just happy. I got my foot thingy here. So if I want to put my foot down, put it up, you know, I'm feeling good. But let's get into the episode because I will keep running my mouth and we will not get into what we need to get into. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about reset and bloom. We're going to kick off this spring reset. We're going to focus on our mind, body, and soul and just refresh for this spring. So let's get into it. Why do we need to reset? For me, think about it. We're in spring right now. We done got through the holidays. We done got through the new year. We done got through last summer. We done got through all what went on in the last quarter. You know what I mean? So the fourth quarter, we had October, November, December of 2024. We went through a lot. You know what I mean? We went through an election. We went through holidays. We went through family. We went through friends. We went through all the different things and emotions with work and kids and stuff. Then here we are at the new year and we're just trying to figure out what is going on, not only in our life, but in this world. And it's like, you know what? We always sit back and think, oh, the new year, new me. But it's like, really, it's like the spring is really when things is really blossoming and things are new. So I'm looking at the trees are blooming. My front yard is blooming. My plants is thriving on the inside. I'm like, so guess what? Who else needs to thrive? Me. I need to thrive. So that's why I wanted to have these few episodes so we can literally pour into ourselves and pretty much also kind of go back into the archive and kind of reiterate what we spoke about before so we can kind of put some things into action, if that makes any sense. So resetting our mind. What does that look like? What does resetting your mind actually look like? That can be a host of different things. And for me, and what I want to share is like pretty much decluttering your thoughts, letting go of limiting beliefs, stress, and mental fatigue. I sit back and think about, things that I dwell on for no reason. And it's pretty much muscle memory, just thinking about things that you don't even need to be thinking about that you think about. Stress in general. You guys know I'm very transparent about, if you follow my vlogs on YouTube, I talk about high blood pressure, I talk about cholesterol, I talk about so many different things because I had my scare. And right now I'm like borderline. And if I don't get it together, my physician is going to slap a pill on me. So right now, a lot of I'm in the gym heavy. I've been changing up my diet. I need to share that. I need to do like what I eat in a day, things like that, and kind of like a day in the life of a woman, over 40 trying to maintain herself because you can live a healthy life, right? You can be good, but sometimes just going through life can just change and just sink. I don't drink heavy. I haven't had a drink since December. And then prior to that, I wasn't drinking heavy. I was more so a wine drinker. So everybody's body is different. Like something that I can tolerate, you may not can tolerate, and then vice versa. Like I sit back and be like, oh my God, wine. Why is wine sending me over the top? But it could be something else. I could be stressed out of something that I might think is minute, but it's really tearing me to pieces. So I go to the gym. I do a lot of cardio moving forward because I need to release a lot of stress. And I also do cardio when I get home because I have a treadmill in my garage. So sometimes we don't realize how stress, racing thoughts, and mental fatigue and feeling like you should be further off where you are can really tear you to pieces. So we want to like reset our mind and let go a lot of these things so we can be at peace and not let so many things bother us. And what are some things that can help us, get through this? Like, journaling is one for me. I have heavily gotten into my notes. So before I was an actual pen to paper because I feel for me, pen to paper helps me with retention. But at this point, when it comes to journaling, it's not about pen to paper. It's more of letting go. I'm not trying to retain what I'm getting off. I want it to get out of me. I want it to stay where it is and, be not even a mental thought. Let it be somewhere on paper or on digital out of this little thing right here. So journaling, getting, clarity of like, here's some prompts. Let me just get into it. Here's some prompts. You can write and you can say, what is weighing me down right now? What do I need to release? And I know for me it's limiting beliefs. What's weighing me down? Me overthinking things I can't control. What I can control is, you know, the stress, like things that I let bother me, or things that I eat, things that I drink, exercise, and things like that. Those are things that I can control. So I have to sit back and say, Kelly, if you know these things are weighing you down, you have to figure out how to release it. So, like pretty much reset in my mind. Another prompt. How do I want to feel this season? I want to feel free. I want to feel free. So if I'm doing a journal prompt on how do I want to feel this season, I have to literally elaborate and say, I want to feel free. I don't want things weighing me down. I want to be effortless for myself. I want to pour into myself and be detailed as possible. As possible. Now we're going to move on to like, speaking life into yourself. We can sit back here and we can get clarity, on what's things that are bothering us. But it's like on the flip side, are we literally pouring to ourselves? We can pour into ourselves in so many different ways. And we can pour into ourselves where something simple as buying ourselves something, but it's like, how can we actually pour into ourselves and speak life into ourselves? And here are some like really powerful affirmations here that, I have that I speak into myself and I want to share with you. So I have here, I am worthy of peace. Sometimes we feel like we have to stay chaotic. We have to have toxicity around us. And that is not true by any means. Here's another one. I release anything that no longer serves me. That's a big one. Let me tell you something. I had so many people and things around me just because I felt that's how it was supposed to be. You hear from your family, oh, that's your family, that's your blood, that's how it's always been, blood thicker than water, family forever. But if you got something in your family that's really weighing you down, somebody in your family's weighing you down, you have to remove it. You don't get to pick your family. You do not get to pick your family. You are pretty much assigned. You can pick your friends. If you can let go of friends and make new ones, guess what? We can pick and make new Don't mind me, y'all. I'm just speaking from where I am in my life. Okay, I don't expect you to drop family off. But okay, but back to the affirmations. I release anything that no longer serves me. And that can go for people, places, or things. Okay. And last but not least, this season, I am blooming into my best self. And even though I'm a woman over 40, in 3 months, I'll be 49. And then I'll have one more year left in my 40s. And it don't matter where you are in your journey. You could be in your 30s, your 20s, your teens, wherever you are. You could be in your 60s, your 70s, whatever. Always look at where you are. Sometimes we always feel like we got time. We got this. Time is not on our side in some things, but we have to live our best life while we're here. You know what I mean? We have to live our best life. So, yeah. In addition to, journaling and affirmations, also like a digital detox. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hey, I might be one. I'm gonna put it out there. Unfollow negative accounts. Sometimes we feel like we have to follow people because when Instagram first came out, we was following these people and they was following us, and that's when things started. And you can't let go because these are the people that started it off for you. You know what I mean? But if what they got going on now is not what you feeling, you gotta let them go. You gotta let them go. I sit back and think about, there's a few accounts that I don't follow anymore, but not by choice. Sometimes YouTube will remove, and Instagram. Instagram will add, okay? Instagram will add. TikTok will add too. This play people I know I ain't been following. I didn't hit the follow button, but it's what it is. But if you know there's people on your account that don't align with you, or you feel like they make you feel some kind of way, and it's not like you're jealous or anything. It could just be something about them that you're just like, you know what? I'm going to keep being in this space with them and I can't even move on. I.e., if you are a content creator and you busy watching, you are a consumer more than you are a producer. You can't do that. One thing you cannot do in this space as a content creator, you have to be a producer. Sometimes you have to limit your consumptions. I know people ask me questions like, have you seen so-and-so video? Have you seen, and I'm just being transparent. I have my time where I actually watch YouTube, or when I'm strolling on TikTok, or when I'm strolling on Instagram, because I am a content creator. And right now I'm in my podcast era. I just got back into doing vlogs. So I'm in a place right now where I have to produce, and I just revamped my web. Well, let me get it together here. I just recently revamped, and now I have a website. I've always had a blog. I started out with Blogger. You guys know that's a free platform. It's still free. It's still up and it's still running. I still have a blogger, and I had a blog, and I turned my blog into a full blown website. And let me tell you something. I don't know what the algorithm is seeing when it comes to like the website. Since I've updated my website, updated, made it into a website, I've been getting so many more views. And also I took off monetization on my website. I don't have pop-up ads on my website anymore. I took the ads off. So that can be another reason why my website is getting so much traffic now, because I don't have distractions. Eventually I will put them back on, but I want to wait until I get the momentum, because I do want to monetize my blog again, but I want to monetize my blog more so with an actual agency. We'll talk more about that later. So for you bloggers, you know, find your happy medium. We'll talk about that later. But back to us resetting here, resetting and blooming. But I'm just giving you some insight on what I'm doing and whatnot. So unfollow those negative accounts, limit your doom scrolling. I just talked about that. And then, curate a uplifting online space for yourself. Follow people that make you smile. I have a lot of people that make me smile. And I also went out and typed in like a hashtag like wellness, health, women's health. And I typed those things in my TikTok and also my Instagram. I started following a whole new slew of people. And I also typed in like women podcasts because, I'm learning my craft right now. I need to be in that space. So I want to make sure that my feed is looking like what I want to become. And yes, I am a YouTuber, but at the end of the day, I am, I'm treading into a whole new area, which is podcasting. And I'm like I said, I'm back vlogging, but I do want to share more like behind the scenes and stuff like that, because I want to inspire you. I want to inspire you to do the things that you want to do, and I do not want you to let age hinder you in any kind of way. Okay. All right. So next up, I want to talk about resetting your body. Now that can look different for a lot of us, but we're going to talk about it. How does that look? You guys know I just spoke on, regards of me with high blood pressure and things that I'm doing to make sure that I keep my pressure down and making sure that I avoid taking a pill. What are some things that I'm doing, as a black woman, or as a woman, what am I doing? I'm sitting here and I'm nourishing my body with hydration. I'm doing things like drinking more tea. Hey, got my tea right here. And I'm trying to do more whole foods. I never really ate bad. So sometimes it just trips me out that I'm dealing with this element that is like creeping up on me if I don't get it together. And I have to also understand genetics plays a big part in it, especially within the black community. If your parents have it, your great grandparents, and then it doesn't mean just because they have it, you're doomed to get it. It's just sometimes it just happens. But what are we doing for our body? We're for sure hydrating. We're getting our teas and we're limiting our caffeine. I done got clearance so I can drink some coffee to kind of see what's going on with me. And I've been having a little fun, but I need to, scale back. I'm in the gym. So we're going to talk about moving and stretching, the importance of, doing a workout. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy. It can be a gentle workout. I've done some yoga. I took you guys in my previous vlog. I shared about me, doing yoga for the first time. And I didn't even know that was something that I needed. I've done Pilates before. And I didn't know that I needed yoga. I didn't know I needed that breathing, that in, that out. I didn't know that's something that I needed. And I am so grateful that I have a gym that can give that to me, because I was going to pay for it. But yeah, I didn't know I needed it. And I'm happy I did it, and I'm going to be doing it again. I do it once a week. Nothing too extravagant. Before I do my yoga, I do 10 minutes on the treadmill at my gym. Then I go in and do my yoga. And then after my yoga, I go back out and I do 10 more minutes on the treadmill just to kind of, get my body, just loose. I'm already loosened up because I've been breathing. I've been inhaling. I've been stretching. I've been getting in figure fours and I've been all kind of stuff. But I didn't know I needed something like that. And walking to just make you feel lighter and energized. We don't realize walking is the key to weight loss. I want to get a Apple, what's they call Apple Watch? I want to get an Apple Watch so bad because I want to, like, people talking about how they closing their circles and things like that. I know I move a lot. I know I do have a desk job where I do sit and I do focus a lot, but I do move around throughout the day. And I just want to see what I be doing. So I'm thinking about investing. That might be one of my birthday gifts to myself where I will invest in an Apple Watch. I don't know. We'll see. So next up for our reset in our body is skincare and beauty refresh. I was just talking about this to someone, and we're gonna get into it. So you know how we change in our seasons and things like that, and we have makeup, and we have our skincare, and we have our routines and whatnot. This is a good time to refresh that skincare routine, that nighttime routine, that morning routine, or even your makeup. I just recently did my vanity over to see what I got, to see what I'm using, what I'm not using. And Sephora is having their sale coming up, their Sephora savings sale. We get like the rouge, the VIP, the all that stuff. So that is April 4th. I'm going to get me some new makeup. I'm going to get me some skincare. I'm going to get me some body care and some hair care. Even though I have short hair, I do like to have a good mousse, a good hair mask, and a good shampoo. So, and my daughter, she, I do her hair as well. So I have some things on my list that I want to get to refresh the different areas of my life when it comes to beauty, skincare, and makeup. So I will definitely be doing that. So this is that time where you can, get it together and, get that simple glow. We don't need much. And I like that. Where I am now, I like to have more of a nice, simple look. I'm really enjoying the tinted moisturizer. I'm really enjoying that look, or more of a light to medium foundation. Because you guys know I love me. For those of you who follow me on YouTube, I love me a mattifying foundation. But as I'm getting older, my skin is maturing. I have to stay away from the mattifying. I need to be more hydrating. I can't do the luminous but the hydrating, I can swing it. I can definitely swing it. And last but not least on, resetting our body, pretty much, getting some good rest, especially when you're working out and you're trying to lose weight, tone, or whatever. Sleeping, breathing is how all this stuff is released. So getting some good sleep, prioritizing your rest and your self-care, that sleep routine is very important. I know I go in and out of moments where I have some really good sleeps and some really good, some really good rest. I'm an individual where I can be on my couch. If it's downstairs, upstairs, I can knock out. Throw my head back. Kelly is taking a nap. I will take a nap on the couch before it's time to even go to bed. So I done had two sleeps, okay? Naps are super important. I know people don't like taking naps, but I think a nap is good. I do. I think a nap is good. So, yeah, get you some good rest and some good sleep. New sheets, new duvet, comforters or whatever. I got to get me a new duvet. I'm like, talking about sleep, since we're talking about this, I really like duvets. It took me a long time to start using a duvet. Girl, I love them. I love them. Oh, God. Especially if you got a comforter you don't want to let go. Girl, bye. That's another day, another time. But let's get into, last but not least, resetting our soul. We have to really sit back and check our energy. I know for me, I can, as I'm getting older, I don't know what this is about, but I can really, really tap into other people's energy. I can step into a room and I can really feel vibes and be like, oh, they ain't with it today. Or they ain't feeling me. Or better yet, I ain't feeling them. Okay. But no, we don't want that for this season, but we want to be aware. That's the main thing. We want to actually be aware. So, energy check. Who and what is draining you? Again, it could be that job. It can be a person. It could be a place. It could be your thoughts. Whatever it is, we need to release those toxic energies. I know we all have different beliefs and backgrounds, if it's religious or spiritual, but you can always still have a good spiritual grounding. However that might look for you. That can be prayer, meditation, or just quiet moments to reconnect with yourself. That's super important. Again, I'm not gonna get into, my beliefs and my backgrounds, but I'm very spiritual. I believe in the universe. So I don't think I ever shared that stuff with you because I know we all have our different beliefs. And even when I was younger, you so groomed and having these conversations where with friends or family, and you know how you say God is good all the time. You know how you grew up and saying little things, especially within the Black community. And as I'm getting older, I'm finding my own way. And that's what's important because we're in this life and we're the ones that's living this, if that makes any sense. So yeah, prayer, meditation, quiet moments. You just always want to reconnect with yourself and tap into yourself. And talking to yourself is not that you're crazy. You're just in tune with yourself. You're in tune with yourself. And believe it or not, this is how I feel. If you do hear an answer and you hear someone talking back to you, that's that higher power, okay? I told you. Okay, so now we're going to get into some spring cleaning. I was just doing some of this yesterday, y'all. That's why I didn't go to the gym. Um, Spring cleaning rituals. Anybody into sage, smudging and things like that? Who's into that? Leave that down below. Let your girl know who's into that. Lighting candles, setting up new intentions, for the season. I know for me, I definitely like to do things like that, burning sage and candles, opening new candles and, cleaning out your space. Like I just recently cleaned out my patio. I got to clean out my car, just different things around you that can absorb you and you can absorb it. You want to make sure that your core spaces are good. I.e. this room that I'm in right now. This is where I do a lot of my content creation. So at the end of the day, this room has to be really, really good and the energy has to be good for me so I can produce what I need. And also for myself, you know what I mean? Yeah. So last but not least here is having some joyful habits, incorporating small daily habits that can bring you pleasure, peace, and happiness, And that could be going for a walk, that could be making your favorite smoothie, whatever that looks like for you. That could be listening to a podcast. Hey, 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 hey. Is it like this or is it like this? I don't know. But whatever brings you peace, some joyful habits, do it. Do it because at the end of the day, you want to do things for yourself to make you feel your best. Like I said, I'm at a point in my life now where it's all about having good energy and good vibes. I'm not going to say at one point in my life I won't probably giving out some mess. But here we are today and we're giving out good vibes, okay? Giving out good vibes. So before we close out, let's kind of recap, the importance of, resetting our mind, our body, our soul, and just stepping into a season where we're feeling renewed. You don't have to do extravagant things. You can do things that don't cost any money. Sometimes just sitting down with a piece of paper and a pen and a nice cup of tea and writing down things that you want to do can be a reset for you. Or let alone just sitting down or at night. I know for those of you who may have small children or maybe have some grands, or maybe whatever it is, or even if you don't have the luxury of, when you do have a moment at night, carve that out for yourself. I know for me, before, you know, my daughter's 18 now, you know, my oldest is 31. I don't have those issues anymore, but I did. I would have to wait till everybody go to bed to actually like literally sit up in my bed and be like, whoa, this is finally my time. You know, but did I want more time before then? Yeah, but but when you make a choice to, do these different things, you have to make sacrifices. So yeah. So do things that can, just reset, these different areas of your life. I encourage you to share, down below in the comments. If you are listening, you guys know how to do your sharing and whatnot. If you're watching on YouTube, leave it down in the comments. Let me know something that you're doing this season that's going to, restore you and reset you and make you just have a good, spring season. Let us know, share. So something that you might do might help someone else and vice versa. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I also want to let you know what the next episode is going to be about, so you can kind of have a good idea where we're going. We're going to be talking about the glow up season. And I did a couple of episodes in regards to glow up, but we're going to hit, a little bit more about glowing up, and so you have a idea. So we're going to be talking about glow up season. And what we're going to focus on is self-care, wellness, rituals, in addition to just pouring into yourself. That's going to be like the key thing, pouring into yourself. And we're going to figure out ways to do that, because sometimes we will put ourselves last and put everybody else first. Okay. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So, in saying all of that, make sure you're following the podcast here on YouTube. In addition to, if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, all the platforms, iHeart, go ahead and follow, hang out with your girl. And also, if you like these type of episodes, these type of conversations, tell a friend, share, you know what I mean? Let everybody know what we got going on over here, And also, hang out with me on Instagram. We have a Facebook community where we're having all these good conversations. And I will catch you in the next episode. I thank you, and I truly, truly appreciate you. Bye, y'all.